Well?
What am I supposed to do with this now?
Oh, yeah. We've waited years to feature the S2000, and this is the ultimate, the CR. It was made as a special for the American market. It's stiffer, it has more aero, and is rarer. So in order to make...
And I'm James!
Question his almost religious-like devotion to the Miata, I thought it best to put him in this. A perfectly maintained version of the S2K with some minor suspension upgrades to deal with the bumpy California roads. So a bright yellow Roadster and a lush California canyon in the sunshine. If there was ever going to be a place to fall in love with the S2000, this is it.
If you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing around. So subscribe and hit the bell.
Now this is a lightweight Japanese Roadster. It is not a monster of speed. It has a bit more power than a Miata, but it's basically the same realm of speed, except this revs higher, and the AP1 before this revved to 9,000 RPM. This technically revs to 8,000, except the owner has tuned it a little bit to give it a higher redline. And in true S2000 fashion, this is a car that rewards living at the top of that redline. So it's not quite 9,000, but it has all the other improvements that the AP2 gets. And being a naturally aspirated four-cylinder, it's got a lot of heart and soul to it. This has an aftermarket Mugen exhaust, which sounds great. It's a little bit boomy for my taste around town, but it makes the whole drive exciting. But what good is a fun red line if you only get to reach it once or twice? Because something like a 718 Spider, which is one of the best roadsters in the world, has such tall gears. People go on about how the shifter experience in an S2000 is one of the best, and that is true. The shifts are short, they're purposeful, but I think the more important thing is how close the shifting ratios are, because the fun of a manual is shifting. First gear, 35 miles an hour. Top of second gear, 55. Top of third gear, 78. So basically, you can switch to fourth gear as you get onto the highway, having revved it all the way out, which means you get to play with the fact that it's a manual. And that is about as good as that gets. There really isn't much torque. It's just horsepower. So you're not being thrown in the back of your seat. You have to get to the red line to experience any power. However, the beauty of the rear-wheel drive, lightweight Japanese Roadster is that the sensation of speed is massively enhanced. You keep looking down thinking you're going well over the speed limit, and it takes a while to get there. So, yes, a 718 Spider or a Z4, they can all do it faster. But you, in this driver's seat, are having the most fun. Because 60 feels like 90, and 30 feels like 60. And what is the point in something like this if you're not just having the best possible experience. What a fun redline! Wow! This is a very fun car. I haven't driven an S2000 before. I didn't want to. I didn't want to find out that the Miata wasn't the best Roadster. And I still think the Miata is the clown. It's the silly, like, giggly one. Put it this way, if the Miata was a song, it is Bop by Hanson. And if a G-Wagon is Move Bitch, Get Out the Way, then an S2000 is Black Betty. It just gets you going.
So obviously the S2000 is all about that crazy high-revving, high-strung, naturally aspirated engine, and I'm sure James mentioned legendary shifter feel. But for me, the thing that's always attracted me to this car has been the handling characteristics, because unlike the Miata, I'm sure many of you know, this is a front mid-engine car, which means that all of the engine underneath this huge hood is behind that line. I love it when the feel of a car tells the story of its design. And that's what happens with the S2000. That engine being close to me, up in the middle of the car, means that I can feel that it doesn't fight me when I turn into a corner. Imagine trying to run around back and forth while holding onto a bowling ball. You can do it, but in order to change direction quickly, you're gonna have to hold that bowling ball really tight to your chest. It's heavy, but you can change direction. Now imagine trying to run around back and forth while holding a bowling ball at the end of a 5-foot stick. Every time you try and change directions, it's gonna go, nuh-uh, that's an Audi. This is the most opposite of that possible. That front end feels like I don't have to fight it at all. It has the delicacy of a mid-engine car. This one's on sticky tires and it's been set up very well. And it's just a breeze through here. The limit is so approachable and so easy. Rear starts to go a little bit under throttle, and it's really, really, really easy to control. Now the CR originally came on pretty serious, pretty track-focused suspension. So the owner of this one, very wisely I think, put on some KW Club Sport two-ways, some German suspension. It's a little bit better set up to deal with kind of half-broken roads like this, and the car's all the better for it. You just exist in the last couple RPM all the time, and then the last couple millimeters of grip. This is the definition of an on-the-limit car. And it's peak Roadster experience. The only downside of an S2000, and I'm telling you right now, this is less of a downside than you think it is, because the steering is electric, and it's a bit numb. But the rest of the car is so communicative. Certain cars, I feel like I'm missing steering feedback. This one, I don't. Peak Roadster, man. It's peak Roadster. I just said that that's peak Roadster. Sorry, Miata guy.
All right, first of all,
yeah, no,
I'm not a Miata guy.
Yeah, you are. You literally have a tattoo.
Yeah, that may be so, but peak Roadster?
Yep.
Well, I think, okay, so it's not the best Roadster. I think there's a difference between best Roadster and peak. Like, technically, a Porsche Spider is better, or
right.
on this earth, with these speed limits.
Yeah, and this amount of gravity. This is
physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, these cost a bunch now, right? Like these
do.
Low mileage versions of these are going for...
The CR specifically, or any?
CR specifically.
Yeah, even S2000s are.
They're over 100 grand now, these.
Right.
So,
no, it's just such a brilliant thing to drive on these like tight little twisty roads. It's just great.
You couldn't ask for a better setting.
No, I know.
It is beautiful.
That's really, really neat, isn't it?
Is the car beautiful?
No, it's not. Okay, so I'll explain why. This has got a lot of Mugen stuff on it, right?
Yes.
Some of the things that you see come from the CR, which like the wing, the front splitter, that stuff. But there's a Mugen hood, Mugen exhaust, Mugen wheels. Is it Mugen or Mugen?
I'm gonna go with Mugen for 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't love the look of this car. It's a little bit like with the wing and stuff.
Look, it's a big cheese wedge, and yeah, it's a bit boy racer with because this is a hard top only. Remember the CR.
That's right. Oh, this is the other thing that's really CR, right? This is cool.
Yeah.
See, okay, just come here for a second and look at this. Okay, so you stand here. If you get rid of the wing, and trust me, I'm always for a big wing, but if you get rid of the wing, I think it's fantastic. It's just the wing is just one Fast and the Furious too much.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like Fast 6, that wing. That's what that is.
The S2000 is a simple shape, so it has aged well. I just wish it hadn't aged, because to me, I don't know why there isn't a new one. If you drive an ND Miata, you can buy a 2022 Miata.
No, I know.
It's still naturally aspirated. A lot of this doesn't have to be that different.
Why don't they give us what we want?
Slight facelift.
What is it?
Slight updated interior.
I deserve it. I deserve it.
I get that CRV hybrids make more money.
Can we go and look at the interior?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually quite easy to get in.
It is. It's actually a very livable car in general, right? It's kind of got everything you need and literally nothing more, like knee room.
It's not really a glove compartment, though, is there?
Who needs some?
Well, I guess
Really?
MX-5 doesn't have one.
There's a little slidey bit there for cup holders. Yep.
And here,
And then look at that. That's where you keep your microfibers.
MX-5's got that.
Whatever.
And I have my microfibers in it.
Does your MX-5 have a steering wheel that doesn't tilt? Yes, actually, because
No.
you have an ND1.
It tilts, it doesn't telescope.
Oh, that's right. It's a telescope.
Yeah.
Yes, this doesn't do either.
I have no problem with it. When I got in,
because you're the perfect height, apparently.
yeah, short legs, long arms.
I guess so. Okay, so the seating position is a little bit high.
Yeah, you feel like you're sitting on top of the car.
Yeah, like to compare that to like an FRS, a BRZ, or even a Porsche, those cars have crazy adjustability, and you can get yourself really low, and like people of different heights can find like the perfect driving position. You are shoehorned into a driving position with this car. It feels like the steering wheel is like kind of resting on my knees. I want it to be here.
This is what I mean. To make a 2023 S2000 work, they don't have to change much.
No.
Give it a telescoping steering. Make the updates that the ND made in 2019.
Yeah.
Give it a... No, you can't do higher red line, but...
Yeah, not really, no.
I don't know, just update it slightly.
Do
'cause
something.
This is dated now. It's simple, so it's aged well.
Yes.
But it's clearly not a modern interior. If they just did that, I'd buy it.
No, like, speaking of aged well, this really, really has aged well.
Yeah,
this does not look like an old car.
Yeah, Honda are good with that.
The Club Racer was optional with radio and air conditioning.
Yeah, I think it's $1,000 extra. So you could do a delete. That's the Club Racer thing.
Yes, but this has both.
Yeah.
There's not much to talk about in here.
That's a
other than that.
Mugen shifter.
It's a Mugen shifter, which I thought at first was aluminum, but I think it's one of those Delrin ones because it's refusing to get hot in the sun, which is a blessing.
Oh, okay.
Because it could be brutal.
I do like the normal S2000 shifter. I really do.
The
like
little sticky
the
thing.
The longer.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like this. I love a good ball shifter. You just kind of like boom.
Yeah. Like balls in your hand.
Yeah. No.
It's okay.
I mean, bowling balls, maybe, like baseballs.
Those you stick your fingers in.
This is going a weird
Sorry,
place.
why has no one made... They should make a bowling ball style shifter where the 2 fingers and a thumb have to be in it.
That's real easy for like quick shifts on the track, where he's like, 3 in shift.
Yeah, but imagine arriving at the bowling alley, you're just ready.
You're
walk in with carpal tunnel.
You just take it up. This has gone a weird way. Anyway, the CR is very cool, but you mostly notice it being a Club Racer on the outside. But in here, I mean, there's the Alcantara here, and yellow stitching in the seats and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think you need to defend yourself with the Peak Roadster comment.
Oh, okay. I can.
There are more.
Watch me.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I mean, it depends what peak meaning it achieves your priorities in a Roadster. So
yes.
So this is you can cross the country in this.
You could drive across the country in this, and then when you get there, crush a canyon road.
Right.
You couldn't do that in like a Caterham.
And also compared to that, it feels safer. It's more approachable.
Yep.
The high revving still makes it a fun car.
Yeah.
But like a Lotus Elise, for example.
A Lotus Elise is a great roadster. Don't get me wrong. And to certain people and certain drivers, it's definitely a better roadster than this.
Right.
But this is so easy to when it's properly set up. It's so easy to drive at the limit.
Yeah.
That it's approachable. It's simple. It feels safe yet still fun. You still feel like you're on the ragged edge.
Okay.
But you're not like close to a mid-engine off the cliff death, right? This is a nice easy car to drive at the limit once it's set up properly, and I think it communicates everything that I like about driving to me perfectly.
Yeah. My only problem is that this was the last one.
If Toyota can make a Yaris cool by giving it an all-wheel drive rally system, and then do the same thing by giving us the GR Corolla, and then rewarding us with a new manual Supra, then yeah, Honda, come on, bring back your high-revving rear-wheel drive Roadster. This one, from over a decade ago now, with its earlier electric steering system and lack of tech, is only now starting to show its age. It's that good.
Honda's manual transmissions are still top tier in their newer performance cars, as is their approach to ergonomics and simple interior design. We have full faith that today's Honda could nail a new S2000. Until then, the Mazda MX-5 is still a wonderful option that captures the Japanese Roadster magic. But a bit of healthy competition never hurt anyone. Also, there's a lot more room on James's back. Thanks for watching.